I was standing in the kitchen of our house in Seattle, watching the rain slide down the glass, when my 8-year-old grandson, Ethan, came up and tugged on my sweater. The way he looked at me made my chest feel tight all of a sudden. "Grandpa," he said, real soft, almost like he was afraid someone might hear. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure thing, buddy," I told him. "What is it?" He glanced down the hallway, then back at me. "Why does Grandma always make me take those vitamins when you are not home?" For a second, I did not understand what he was talking about. Then a cold feeling spread through me. "What vitamins?" I asked. "The ones in the brown bottle," he said. "She says they will make me strong like you were when you were young." He hesitated, then added, "But Grandpa, they make me feel really sleepy. And sometimes my stomach hurts." I bent down so I was looking him straight in the eye. I kept my voice steady, even though my heart was beating fast. "Ethan, can you show me those vitamins?" He nodded and led me upstairs to the bathroom. He reached behind a stack of folded towels in the linen closet and pulled out a dark amber prescription bottle. The second I read the label, it felt like the floor shifted under my feet. Zolpidem, 10 milligrams. Prescribed to Linda Carter. My wife. We had been married 42 years. The prescription had been filled 3 months earlier. "How often does Grandma give you these?" I asked, trying hard not to let my voice shake. "Every day after school," he said. "She says it is our special secret. She says I should not tell you because you worry too much." His eyes filled with tears. Am I in trouble? I pulled him into my arms right away. No. No, buddy. You did the right thing. I am proud of you for telling me. My mind was spinning. "Why do you not go watch some television for a little while?" I said. "Grandpa needs to make a phone call." When he walked off, I stood there holding that bottle. My hands were shaking. Linda and I had been taking care of Ethan for the past 6 months. Our daughter, Nicole, had died in a car accident. Ethan's father was deployed overseas with the United States Army, and we had offered to take Ethan in so he would not have to go into temporary foster care. But sleeping pills for an 8-year-old child? I grabbed my phone and called our family doctor, Dr. Harris. The receptionist said he was with a patient. "I do not care," I told her. "This is William Carter. It is about my grandson. It is urgent." 3 minutes later, Dr. Harris came on the line. I explained everything. I read him the information off the prescription bottle. There was a long silence. "William," he finally said, and his voice sounded tight. "Bring Ethan in right now. I am clearing my schedule. And bring that bottle with you." "Is it that serious?" I asked. "Zolpidem is a powerful sedative hypnotic," he said. "It is prescribed for severe insomnia in adults. In children, it can cause slowed breathing, problems with thinking and memory, and in some cases permanent neurological damage." "How long has he been taking it?" "He says every day." "I do not know for how long." "I need you to stay calm," the doctor said. "But yes, this is extremely serious. I will see you in 20 minutes. I hung up and found Linda in her craft room, sewing one of her quilts. At 73 years old, she still moved around like a woman 20 years younger. At least, that was what I had always believed. "Linda, we need to talk." She looked up at me and smiled. That same smile I had loved for more than 4 decades. "What is it, dear?" I held up the bottle. "Why are you giving your sleeping pills to Ethan?" The color drained out of her face. "William, I can explain." "Explain?" I said. "You have been drugging our grandson." "I have not been drugging him," she snapped. "He just has so much energy. I am not as young as I used to be. The pills just help him calm down after school so I can rest. Just a little bit." Half a pill. That is all. Half a pill of a medication meant for adults, I said. Do you even understand what you have done? Oh, stop being so dramatic, she said. My own mother used to give us a little of her nerve medicine when we were wild. It never hurt us. I stared at her, and for the first time in my life, she felt like a stranger. Get your coat, I said. We are taking Ethan to Dr. Harris right now. That is completely unnecessary. Now, Linda. The drive to the doctor's office was quiet. The only sound was Ethan talking from the back seat. He was excited about missing school. He had no idea how serious this was. Linda stared out the window with her jaw set tight. Dr. Harris examined Ethan carefully. He asked him how he felt, if he had trouble remembering things, if he had nightmares. Then he drew blood. I need to run a full toxicology panel, he told me in the hallway while a nurse stayed with Ethan. And I need to speak with both of you separately. An hour later, he called me into his office. His face was serious. William, I am required by law to report this to Child Protective Services. It felt like I had been punched in the chest. What does that mean for Ethan? It means there will be an investigation. Ethan can remain in your care. But Linda cannot be left alone with him unsupervised. I am also ordering a full neurological evaluation. We need to determine whether there has been any lasting damage. Lasting damage? My voice broke. In children, zolpidem can interfere with developing neural pathways, he said. It can affect memory formation, cognitive processing, emotional regulation. The fact that Ethan has been sleepy and complaining of stomach pain suggests he has been receiving regular doses. If this has been happening for weeks or months. He paused. We will not know the full impact until testing is complete. I thought about how Ethan had been struggling in school lately. His teacher had told me he seemed distracted. His grades had been slipping. I figured it was because he was grieving his mother. There is something else, Dr. Harris said. During the exam, Ethan mentioned that sometimes he cannot remember entire afternoons. William, that is memory loss. In an 8-year-old child. I had to grip the edge of his desk just to stay steady. That evening, after Ethan was asleep, I confronted Linda again. And this time, she did not look sorry at all. She looked defiant. I was doing what had to be done, Linda said. Her voice was sharp, defensive. You are gone 3 days a week at the Veterans Hall doing volunteer work. You do not see how exhausting it is to keep up with him. He is always running, always making noise, always needing something. I am 73 years old, William. I needed help. So you poisoned him? I shot back. I did not poison anyone, she said. It was just a little bit to calm him down. That is better than him running wild and getting into trouble. Better than, I could not even finish the sentence. My throat felt tight. Linda, he is 8 years old. He lost his mother 6 months ago. Of course he has energy. Of course he needs attention. That is what children do. Well, I could not give him that attention every single day, she snapped. I needed rest. Then you should have told me, I said. We could have hired someone. We could have arranged after-school care. We could have done something. Anything but this. She stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. Her face turned red. Oh, so now I am the villain? I have taken care of this family for 42 years. I raised our daughter. I kept this house running while you worked 60-hour weeks. And now that I need a little help managing things, I am suddenly a criminal. You gave drugs to a child, Linda, I said. Our grandson. Nicole's son. I felt tears burning in my eyes. How could you do this to him? To her memory? For a brief second, I saw something change in her face. Maybe guilt. Maybe fear. But it passed quick, and her jaw tightened again. "You are overreacting," she said. "He is fine. Dr. Harris said he might have permanent brain damage." That hit her. I saw it. She dropped back down into the chair. Her hands started to shake. "What?" she whispered. "The medication you have been giving him affects brain development in children. He has been losing memory. Linda, an 8-year-old child is losing hours of his life because of what you did." She covered her face with her hands. "I did not know," she said. "I swear I did not know. I thought it would just make him sleepy. Like when someone takes diphenhydramine for allergies." "This is not diphenhydramine," I said. "This is a controlled substance. It is a powerful sedative." I took a deep breath because I felt like I might explode if I did not. Child Protective Services is opening an investigation. A social worker will be coming to the house. Ethan will be evaluated by specialists. "And me?" she asked quietly. I had to force the next words out. "You cannot be alone with him anymore." Her head snapped up. "You cannot be serious." "I am completely serious. Until this investigation is over, and until we know the full damage, I am not risking his safety. He is my grandson too. Then you should have remembered that before you started medicating him in secret." After that, the only sound in the room was her crying. For 42 years, when she cried, I held her. That was just what I did. But this time, I could not move. Every time I pictured going to her, I saw that pill bottle hidden in the closet. I saw Ethan's confused little face. I thought about how she had been giving him those pills day after day. The next few weeks were the hardest of my life. The social worker assigned to our case was a woman named Melissa Grant. She was kind, but she did not miss a thing. She interviewed me, she interviewed Linda, she talked to Ethan's teachers, even spoke to a few of our neighbors. Ethan went through what felt like endless testing. Neurological exams. Psychological assessments. Cognitive evaluations. His teacher, Mrs. Reynolds, told us she had noticed changes. "He used to be one of my strongest students," she said. "But over the last few months, he has struggled to focus. He forgets instructions. Sometimes he seems unsure about what day it is." Hearing that broke my heart. I had blamed his struggles on grief. I thought he was just missing his mom. The neurologist, Dr. Patel, called me in to go over the results. "The good news," she said, "is that we do not see evidence of permanent structural brain damage." I felt a small wave of relief. "But," she continued, "there are concerning findings in his cognitive testing. His short-term memory scores are significantly below average for his age. His processing speed is reduced. These effects may improve as the medication clears from his system and as his brain continues to mature." She paused before she finished. "We will not know for certain for several months. Possibly years." "Years?" I asked. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "The developing brain is resilient," she said. "But it is also vulnerable. Repeated exposure to sedative medications during critical growth periods can have lasting consequences. We will need to monitor him closely. He may require cognitive therapy, academic support, and possibly medication in the future to help with focus and memory." I thought about Nicole. I remembered how proud she was when Ethan learned to read. How she called us crying happy tears when he memorized his multiplication tables. She had so many hopes for him. Now all I could think was that those dreams might never look the same. At home, things were tense. Linda and I barely spoke. She moved into the guest bedroom. When Ethan was home, I stayed close. On the days I worked my part-time job at the hardware store, my friend Tom from the Veterans Hall came over to sit with Ethan. I did not leave them alone for a second. Linda tried to talk to me more than once. She would start with, "William, please," but I could not listen. Every time I looked at her, I saw that amber bottle. I heard Dr. Patel say, "Lasting consequences." 3 weeks into the investigation, everything boiled over. I was in the garage sorting through a box of old tools when I heard raised voices inside. I dropped what I was holding and ran in. Linda was in the kitchen with Ethan. She was crying. "I just wanted to say I am sorry," she was telling him. "I never meant to hurt you, sweetheart. I was tired and I made a terrible mistake." "What is going on?" I demanded. Ethan looked scared. "Grandma was trying to hug me," he said. "But you said I should not be alone with her." "I was not doing anything wrong," Linda said quickly. "He is my grandson. I have a right to explain myself." "A right?" I could feel my hands shaking. "You gave up that right when you chose to drug him day after day. He deserves to hear that I am sorry. He is 8 years old, Linda. He does not need your explanations. He needs to feel safe." "He needs to feel safe," I said. "I never made him unsafe." "His memory is damaged," I answered. "He cannot remember whole afternoons of his life. He is struggling in school. How is that safe?" Ethan started crying right there in the kitchen. I dropped to my knees beside him. "Hey, buddy. It is okay," I said softly. "Why do you not go watch some cartoons for a little while? Grandpa needs to talk to Grandma." He wiped his face and walked out. When he was gone, I turned back to Linda. "You need to leave." Her eyes went wide. "What?" "I want you to pack a bag and stay somewhere else." "Your sister's place." "A hotel." "I do not care. But you cannot stay here right now. You are throwing me out of my own house." "I am protecting our grandson," I said. "That is what you should have been doing from the start." She stared at me for a long time. Then she turned and walked upstairs without another word. I heard drawers opening and closing. Closet doors sliding. About 20 minutes later, she came back down with a suitcase in her hand. At the front door, she stopped. "I am sorry," she said quietly. "I truly am." I did not understand how serious it was. I was overwhelmed and I made a terrible decision. "But William, I love that boy. I would never intentionally hurt him." "But you did hurt him," I said. "Whether you meant to or not, you did." She nodded slowly. Tears ran down her cheeks. Then she walked out. That night, it was just Ethan and me at the dinner table. For the first time since all of this began, it felt quiet in a different way. "Is Grandma coming back?" he asked. "I do not know, buddy," I told him honestly. "We have some things we need to figure out." "Did I do something wrong? Is she mad at me?" "No," I said firmly. "You did nothing wrong. In fact, you did everything right. You told me the truth when something did not feel right. That was brave. But everything feels strange now." I reached across the table and took his small hand in mine. "I know it does. And I am sorry for that. But listen to me. When someone you love does something that hurts you, even if they did not mean to, you have to speak up. You have to tell someone who can help. You did that. That is something to be proud of." But Grandma looked really sad. "She is sad," I said. "And she should be. She made a choice that hurt you. Now she has to deal with the consequences. That is how life works. Our actions have consequences." Over the next few months, things slowly started to settle. Child Protective Services finished their investigation. They decided that while Linda's actions were dangerous and could have been criminal, the district attorney chose not to file charges. They took into account her age, the fact that she had no history of anything like this, and that there was no evidence she meant to cause harm. Still, they recommended she not have unsupervised access to Ethan. Linda moved in with her sister in Portland. She called every few days asking about Ethan, asking if she could see him. At first, I only allowed phone calls. I stayed in the room during every conversation. Later, I agreed to short visits in public places. A restaurant. A park bench. Always with me there. Very slowly, Ethan improved. After 3 months, his teacher told me his focus was getting better. After 6 months, his test scores were back to average. Dr. Patel remained careful in her optimism. She said his cognitive function appeared to be recovering, but we would not know with certainty until he was older. The hardest part for me was trying to understand how the woman I had loved for 42 years could have done something like this. Linda and I started going to counseling together. She admitted that after Nicole died, she had fallen into a depression. Taking care of a high-energy 8-year-old had overwhelmed her more than she wanted to admit. I kept telling myself it was like the codeine cough syrup my mother used to give us when we were kids, she said during one session. I knew it was not exactly the same, but I did not let myself think about that too much. Because if you really thought about it, the therapist said gently, you would have had to admit you were hurting him. Linda nodded through tears. I convinced myself I was helping, she said. That a calm, sleepy Ethan was better than me being exhausted and short-tempered. I did not let myself see the truth. The therapist looked at me. William, what do you need from Linda in order to move forward? I sat there for a long time before answering. I need to know you understand the full weight of what you did, I said finally. Not just that you made a mistake. But that you gave a child medication day after day for months. That you hid it from me. That you chose your comfort over his safety and development. I need to know you truly understand that. Linda looked me in the eye. I do, she said. I truly do. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to make it right. It has been 2 years now. Ethan is 10. He is doing well in school. He plays hockey and takes piano lessons. Dr. Patel says his cognitive function is normal for his age. There are still gaps in his memory from that time. Weeks he simply cannot recall. But overall, he is a healthy, happy boy. Linda lives in a small apartment downtown. She sees Ethan twice a week. The visits are still supervised, though they have slowly become more relaxed. Last month, I let her take him to the park by herself for the first time. She looked terrified that I would say no. When I said yes, she looked grateful in a way I had not seen in years. Our marriage is not what it used to be. Too much has happened. Too much trust was broken. We are trying to build something new. Something based on honesty, accountability, and clear boundaries. I do not know if that will lead us back together fully, or if we will end up living separate lives. What I do know is this. I failed my grandson in the beginning by not seeing the signs sooner. He had grown quieter. More withdrawn. His grades slipped. I blamed it all on grief. I should have paid closer attention. I should have asked harder questions. But I also know that once I saw the truth, I did not hesitate. I chose my grandson's safety over my marriage. Over my comfort. Over everything. And if I ever have to make that choice again, I will make the same one. That is what I believe every caregiver, every parent, every guardian has to be willing to do. You have to trust your instincts. If something feels off with a child in your care, if their behavior changes, if they seem too tired all the time or confused, if they say things that do not quite make sense, you cannot ignore that. You cannot brush it aside. You cannot tell yourself it is probably nothing. You investigate. You ask questions. You pay attention. You do not make excuses. You do not put adult comfort ahead of a child's safety. And if you are the one struggling, if you are overwhelmed, exhausted, barely holding it together, then you reach out. You ask for help. You hire support if you can. You talk to family. You call a doctor. You find a counselor. There are resources everywhere if you are willing to look. What there is no excuse for is putting a child at risk because you are too proud or too tired to admit you cannot do it alone. Ethan's father came home from overseas last year. The three of us sat down together, him, Linda, and me. I told him everything. It was one of the hardest conversations I have ever had. He was angry. He was heartbroken. He was shocked. But he also listened. He knows Linda loves Ethan. He also knows what she did was wrong. There is no soft way to say that. He is stationed in Denver now. Next summer, Ethan will move there to live with him full time. I am going to miss my grandson more than I can put into words. But I know it is the right decision. He needs his father. He needs the chance to build that relationship strong and steady. He deserves a fresh start, away from the shadow of what happened in this house. Before he goes, though, I am making sure he understands one thing clearly. None of this was his fault. Not even a little bit. He was the one who was harmed. And he was brave enough to speak up. That is a lesson I want him to carry with him into adulthood. Your voice matters. Your feelings matter. When something does not feel right, you not only have the right to say something, you have the responsibility to. Sometimes I think about my daughter, Nicole. I wonder what she would say about all of this. I choose to believe she would be proud that I protected her son, even though it meant standing up to the woman I had loved for 42 years. I believe she would understand that loving someone does not mean shielding them from the consequences of their actions. Real love means holding people accountable. It means demanding better. It means drawing lines that keep the vulnerable safe. Linda made a terrible decision. She chose her own comfort over the well-being of a child who depended on her. She hid what she was doing. She lied about it. She stopped only when she was confronted. Those are facts. They cannot be softened or rewritten. But here is another fact. People can change. They can face what they have done. They can do the hard work of understanding why they made those choices. They can commit to doing better. Linda has been doing that work. She is in therapy. She is being treated for depression. She has learned to ask for help instead of pretending she can handle everything alone. She is not the same person who hid that bottle behind the towels. Is that enough? Some days I think it is. Some days I am not so sure. What I do know is that I am not willing to pretend none of this happened just to make life more comfortable. Ethan deserves better than that. Nicole's memory deserves better than that. And honestly, Linda deserves better than that too. She deserves the truth. She deserves the chance to grow from it, not to be excused and protected from it. If you are listening to this and you see yourself in any part of this story, whether you are the one who discovered something was wrong, or the one who has been quietly justifying harmful behavior, I am asking you to act now. Do not wait for permanent damage. Do not wait for authorities to show up at your door. Do not wait until a child's future has been altered beyond repair. Children are strong. But they are not indestructible. Their brains are still forming. Their personalities are taking shape. Their trust in the world is being built day by day. Every decision we make as caregivers shapes that. Every time we choose convenience over safety, comfort over vigilance, pride over asking for help, we are making a decision that could follow a child for the rest of their life. When I look at Ethan now, laughing with his friends, bringing home perfect spelling tests, scoring goals on the ice, I feel grateful beyond words that we caught this when we did. Yes, there were consequences. Yes, he lost months of memories. Yes, he had to work harder to catch up in school. But he is okay. More than okay. And that is only because I listened when he told me something was not right. Because I acted immediately. Because I refused to downplay what had happened. Sometimes that is what love looks like. It is not comfort. It is not keeping the peace. It is not avoiding hard conversations. Real love protects the vulnerable. Even when it costs you. Even when it costs you the person you have shared your life with for more than 4 decades. I hope I never face a choice like that again. But if I do, I already know my answer. The children come first. Every single time.